Is India set to have one nation, one election? Well, as the first step to holding simultaneous Lok Sabha and assembly elections in the country, a committee led by former President Ram Nath Kovind submitted a 18,626-page report on the government's One Nation, One Election push. It is an outcome of extensive consultation with stakeholders, experts, and research work over 191 days since its constitution on September 2, 2023. Now, what is One Nation, One Election? Well, it refers to holding simultaneous elections across the country. This means that elections for the Lok Sabha and all state assemblies across India will be held simultaneously. Currently, elections to the state assemblies and the Lok Sabha are held separately. Well, it's not a new concept. Conducting polls simultaneously was the norm in India until 1967, and 4 elections were held this way. The practice stopped after some state assemblies were dissolved prematurely in 1968 to 1969. The BJP and Prime Minister Modi have pushed strongly for the idea several times. The Prime Minister had argued that holding elections every few months puts a burden on the nation's resources and causes a break in governance. But the opposition called it unconstitutional and against the principles of democracy. Another concern of the parties is that national issues would overwhelm local topics in simultaneous polls.
How can there be one nation, one election when the current regime is not accepting the people's mandate? The operation Lotus that is prevalent to lure MLAs and have elections again and again and again. What about that? And also, it's completely against the spirit of decentralization of the panchayats and everything else.
Now, simultaneous elections would require constitutional amendments to sync up the terms of the state legislative assemblies with those of the Lok Sabha. The centre had constituted a committee headed by former President Ram Nath Kovind to explore the possibility of the much talked about One Nation, One Election. Now, the committee has recommended amending the constitution to enable simultaneous elections in 2 steps. In the first step, simultaneous elections will be held for Lok Sabha and state assemblies. In the second step, elections to municipalities and the panchayats will be synchronized with elections to Lok Sabha and state assemblies in a way that local body elections are held within 100 days of the elections to Lok Sabha. Now, addressing potential scenarios of political uncertainty, the panel suggested that in case of a hung house or a no confidence motion, fresh polls can be conducted for the remainder of the 5-year term.
बिल्कुल प्रैक्टिकल नहीं है, इसकी जरूरत ही नहीं है मुझे लगता है। लेकिन 70 साल से जब हम आ रहे हैं, किसी ने अभी तक कहा है कि इसके कारण ये सब प्रॉब्लम्स हो रहे हैं हमारे देश में, कि एक साथ इलेक्शंस नहीं हो रहा। एक साथ इलेक्शंस होने से क्या बड़ा फायदा होता है हमको?
The committee recommends that the Election Commission of India, in consultation with state election commissions, plan and estimate in advance for the deployment of personnel, security forces and voting machines to ensure free and fair simultaneous elections at all government levels.